Hi guys, welcome to Shields Cooking. Today's a very special day because it's my birthday. I've turned 27 and to celebrate we're going to make a beautiful dark chocolate tartelette. It's going to be an almond dark chocolate tartelette with a Bailey's ganache, a Bailey's white chocolate mousse and a chocolate crumble. If you haven't done already and you want to give me the ultimate birthday present, please subscribe and hit that notification button. So, let's begin. We're going to begin with the tartelette. First, pour 150 grams of flour on your worktop. Also add 80 grams of icing sugar and 50 grams of cocoa powder. Now use your bowl to make a well in the middle and fill it with 25 grams of almond powder, 110 grams of butter, 30 grams of beaten egg and 4 grams of salt. Knead this until it's a nice dough. Then transfer it into a bowl, cover it with plastic foil and let it rest in your fridge for 1 hour. Then cover your worktop with flour and roll out the dough till it's around 2 mm thin. After that, take a big baking ring and use that to cut a round out of the dough using a knife. Now transfer the dough on a silicone sheet and place the baking ring on top. Then cut the remaining dough in long lines and use those lines to cover the side of your baking ring. Now use the back of your knife to trim the edges and then let it rest in your fridge for 30 minutes. After that, bake it at 160 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, mix 20 grams of beaten egg with 20 grams of cream. Now take the tartelette out of the oven and remove the baking ring. Then carefully brush the egg mixture on the tartelette and bake it for an additional 10 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius. After that, let it cool down on an oven rack. Once it has cooled down, brush a small layer of the dark chocolate on the inside of the tartelette and keep it out of the fridge for later. Then we can start on the Bailey's ganache. First, heat up a saucepan and add 100 grams of sugar. Now caramelize this on a medium heat. Meanwhile, mix 20 grams of glucose syrup with 40 grams of cream and 120 grams of Bailey's. Bring this to a boil when the caramel is almost golden. Once it is nice and golden, add the hot Bailey's mixture to the caramel. Do this slowly and while stirring. Then turn off the heat and add 120 grams of dark chocolate and 50 grams of butter. Now emulsify this with a hand blender. Then transfer it into a piping bag and keep it out of the fridge for later. Now for the crumble. Pour 100 grams of almond powder on your worktop together with 100 grams of sugar and 80 grams of flour. Then use your bowl to make a well in the middle. After that, put 100 grams of butter into the well and also add 2 grams of salt and 40 grams of melted dark chocolate. Now knead this into a nice dough. Once it's a nice dough, spread it on a silicone sheet and bake it at 160 degrees Celsius for around 25 minutes. After 15 minutes, use a spoon to spread the crumble some more, but be sure to make the pieces not too small. Then bake it for another 10 minutes. Now put around 20 grams of almond flakes on a tray and toast them at 160 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then let them cool down and keep them out of the fridge for later. Now for the Bailey's mousse. First soak 1 leaf or 1.7 grams of gelatin in some cold water. Meanwhile, mix 30 grams of milk with 50 grams of Bailey's and then bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, turn off the heat and dissolve your gelatin. After that, add 90 grams of white chocolate. Mix this and then let it cool down till it's 30 degrees Celsius. While that's cooling down, pour 100 grams of cream into a bowl and beat this till it's at yogurt thickness. Then while stirring, add the Bailey's mixture and carefully fold this together. Now pour it into the desired mold. Here I use a new mold from Mold Brothers Pastry. Right now they don't sell the mold yet, but be sure to check them out because I really love it. Now tap the mold a couple of times and then let it set in your freezer. Once it's frozen, take the mousse out of the mold and keep it in your freezer for later. Then take your tartelette and pipe a thick layer of the Bailey's ganache on the bottom. After that, sprinkle the almond flakes on top and spread this. Then for the chocolate ganache, pour 80 grams of cream into a saucepan together with 40 grams of Bailey's. Now bring this to a boil. Once it's boiling, turn off the heat and add 100 grams of dark chocolate and 20 grams of butter. Emulsify this with a hand blender and then pour it on the tartelette. Tap it a couple of times and then let it set out of the fridge. Now for the brush. Melt 75 grams of cocoa butter in a saucepan on a low heat. Once melted, turn off the heat and add 75 grams of white chocolate and a touch of fat-soluble coloring powder. Mix this until it's completely smooth and then pour it into a brusher. Carefully brush the outside of the frozen mousse with a thin layer of the cocoa butter. Then transfer the mousse on the tartelette and let it defrost. After that, lay the chocolate crumble on the outside of the mousse and then it's ready to be served. Enjoy! Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed my birthday special. So please let me know in the comments on what you want to see next, like and share the video, and subscribe if you want to support my channel and see more amazing cooking videos. And as always, bon appetit!